every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is March 14th, YC 125, and it is the Eve Universe show. It's finally here, guys. Hold on. It's finally here, guys. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. If I just keep saying next Tuesday enough times, eventually, guys. Eventually, I'm right, and that's what counts. The Shadow War is finally here. The event is here. The good news is sounding a bit robotic. Weird. Okay, hold on. Oh. No, I'm not? All right, well, Marcus, I guess fix your stuff. All right, so, yeah, we have a New Eden news to go over. A teensy bit low. Okay. Yeah, nothing has changed on my sound setup, so either way. Where was I? So we have a New Eden news to go over, and then we have all the mechanics of the... I want to do a full breakdown of the Shadow War, okay? We have gained a lot of information. We were right about a lot of things, but there were several critical things that I was very wrong about. We will be talking about all of those things and how you can get involved as soon as we go over the New Eden news. We also have direct enlistment. Yes, we have direct enlistment. So we'll be talking about all these things. Something is happening right under our noses. I'm tracking several things that are happening right under our noses. Depends on what you're talking about. Oh! Well done, Marcus. Hey, I appreciate the enthusiasm. All right. Free Golem. What? If you want to give me a free golem, you can. I wouldn't mind a free golem. Okay. Let's see. Do we have... Hold on, let me check. I want to make sure that people come in. Because the problem is if I jump into it too early, then people show up, and I have to, like, basically just re-explain the entire thing. So... But it looks like if people are filing in, that's good. That's good. Make sure to like the stream. I think that helps them promote it. Hey, Coney. Or Cone? Coney? Coney, right? I'm not much for the Apocalypse, but the Shadow Skin fits really well. Yeah, I'm not really happy about the fact that you get locked out of the other this other race's Shadow Skins. But I mean, like, of course, it's the price you have to pay. That's right. Also, not just the the piggies. I have a new cat. That's a story in and of itself. Oh boy. Yeah, we adopted a new 8-year-old cat. Apparently, the feline shelter had homed her a while ago, but then somebody found her she was like 3 pounds at 8 years old, which is not what they're supposed to weigh. So yeah, but that's the whole point. That's why we went with like an 8-year-old female cat. We went to like opposite spectrum. So this one She's super chill. It's awesome. She hides a lot right now, but like she slept with Zed in the bed last night and all that stuff. So yay. Anywho, so perfect. All right, let's jump into it. Ceasefire declared between Caldari and Minmatar, followed by Amar and Gallente truce. Ulai Genesis. Concord officials have confirmed notice of 2 separate ceasefires between the Caldari and Minmatar militias and Amar and Gallente militias, respectively, both taking effect at 11 Nest today. Under the Concord Emergency Militia War Powers Act of YC 110, CEMWPA, any 2 of the belligerent powers may declare and register militia ceasefires at any time, suspending the state of mutual warfare between their capsular militias. Diplomatic developments between the Caldari State and Minmatar Republic have led to the high commands of the 2 empires to order the ceasefire for today, having given notice to their intentions to the Amar Empire and Gallente Federation. The Empire and Federation rapidly followed suit by issuing their own orders for a ceasefire between their own militia fighters. The Amar Empire and Minmatar Republic remain in a state of limited war within the terms of the CEMWPA legislation across the Amar-Minmatar war zones. Similarly, the Caldari State and Gallente Federation continue to wage a border conflict using capsular militias according to the provisions of the CEMWPA protocol. Concord conflict monitors remain concerned at the continuing escalation in the 2 war zones, involving continuing and multiple branches and multiple breaches of the Emergency Militia War Powers Act carried out by national militaries, mercenary groups, and paramilitaries. So, this is the result of what we've seen before. This is the breaking of the 2 wars. So now it's 2 separate wars. The only really interesting thing that we can see here is that they the reason why they phrase it this way is because I think that the justification for the 2 different wars are actually somewhat separate, right? So they have a limited war in this area, whereas the Caldari and Gallente have a border conflict. I don't know if that is a distinction without a difference or whatever, but yeah, either way, the wars between the militias are over, and I have something in my coat on my back. What is going on? I don't know. It's like something spiking into my shoulder blade. I might have to go figure that out. That's not great. All right. But yeah, so one of the things that's interesting about this is, as we said before, I don't know if this is going to remain in this case or become like a shifting allegiance thing where maybe the results of the players' actions for these events would potentially... I'm just going to see if I fix it by... Oh, shoot. I'm sure that was not great for you guys. Hold on. All right, and to the non-live audience, no time has passed. All right, so I don't know whether or not this means that the allegiances will be able to shift over time, if this opens up the idea of like kind of unlocking this faction warfare system more and more. Like, if you think about it this way, if they're working towards empires at war, including NPC empires too, including like pirate factions, right? Which they've said they're kind of working on, and even player empires, right? So what do? You first come out with the faction warfare system as exactly the same as possible, as feature parity as possible, except for the changes that you want to make at this time. Then you take it from being the same locked-in war to now it's just, oh, look, there's just wars. Oh, hold on. Okay. Now, once again, this is why you watch it live to see all this extra stuff. To once again to the edited to the whatever the final video's audience. No time has passed. Anywho, moving on. Caldari Mimitar Treaty of Non-Aggression signed in twin ceremonies on New Caldari Prime and Matar. New Caldari Prime and Matar. A new treaty of non-aggression between the Caldari State and Mimitar Republic has been signed by Chairman Akimaka Saraki and Samatar Malatu Shakur in a twin ceremonies on New Caldari Prime and Matar, informally being called the Treaty of Arakan after the Caldari system where it was negotiated. The new treaty provides limited but definite guarantees of peaceful coexistence and mutual respect for territorial borders between the state and republic. Chairman Akimaka Saraki of the Caldari Chief Executive Panel signed a treaty along with CEOs of the Big 8 megacorporations of the Caldari state before presenting the state-authorized copy to the treaty of the treaty to the Mimitar Prime Minister Tobias Ifrit. The Caldari signing ceremony was held in an exclusive setting on the Chief Executive Panel's boardroom, located at the pinnacle of the CEP Spire in Landfall City, New Caldari Prime. For the Mimitar Republic, Senator Malatu Shakur signed before the chiefs of the 7 tribes of the Mitar made their marks, with the Republic authorized copy of the treaty then being processed to the Hasiata CEO Athonin Osman, the latter acting as the personal representative of the CEP in negotiations. The Mimitar signing ceremony was held in the chamber of the Tribal Council in the Great Caravanserai on Matar. Chairman Saraki hailed the Treaty of Arakan as a, quote, long overdue step in establishing a lasting and prosperous peace between the peoples of the Caldari state and the Mimitar Republic, end quote. Samatar Malatu Shakur declared the treaty to be, quote, quite natural as a consequence of the nature and actions of our 2 great independent and proud nations, end quote. The non-aggression treaty has been broadly welcomed by the public of both the Republic and the state, with corporations, families, and clans of all looking forward to opportunities for future trade and exchange with more normalized relations between the 2 empires. So, that's it, right? Yes. So, what we actually do is, or back to what I was saying earlier, once you have the wars locked in, then you switch it so that you have 2 just wars, right? Now you just have the concept of NPCs being at war with each other and us being able to join in on that, like, independently. And so if they could theoretically change those allegiances, they could also make it so that now there's no real difference between what we have now and the Amar being at war with the Sancha. Or in theory, it could easily become, the next step after that would be, oh, look, the Goon Swarm are at war with Test, right? And these are all using basically the same rough mechanics for how territory is managed and how the conflicts play out. It could be very interesting. All right. But here, so what we see here is that, like, especially with the Galente's actions with Uprising and the taking of the Intaki and 10 other systems, like, the Amar and the Galente are really kind of showing themselves to be the more imperialistic of the different empires. And so the other 2, like, basically the Mimitar have shown the Caldari that the Amar have been spying on them. And so that broke the trust between the Caldari and the Amar. And so then the Mimitar were able to be like, hey man, these 2 guys are the guys that are being kind of strange. We should not be at war anymore. Like, they're just using us as pawns. Let's stop doing that, right? And so, like, that logically follows. The Empyrean War really sucked everybody into this whole thing, and the alliances were held fast. But, the Mimitar have always been, like, not incredibly happy with their relationship with the Galente. At best, they've been ambivalent to their connection with the Galente, as far as, like, the Mimitar as a full republic. And, you know, the Caldari have supported the Minmatar in the past, arguably as much as the Gallente have. So I feel like this is a natural progression of things. It is the Amar Gallente side that has caught a lot more people's attention. So let's go on. Big Four empires increase recruiting efforts for Capsuleer militias, opening direct enlistment for pilots. Ulai Genesis. Despite the news of ceasefires, the Concord Assembly has formally enacted a long-expected and scheduled amendment to the Concord Emergency Militia War Powers Act of YC 1110, CEM-WPA, permitting the, quote, direct enlistment of independent Capsuleer pilots with the militia of one of the Big Four Concord powers, even if their parent corporation is not affiliated with that militia. With the escalation of warfare in the Amar Minmatar and Caldari Gallente theaters, all four of the core empires have been increasing their recruitment efforts, and the change to the CEM-WPA legislation has been one of the few items of Concord business which all have agreed in recent years. The direct enlistment provisions will provide a pilot not in a Capsuleer corporation already affiliated with a militia or a Concord member flag corporation to sign up with the militia of their choice independently. Military planners among the high commands of the Big Four are evidently hoping to attract an influx of new Capsuleer fighters to their militias, a need potentially made by all the more urgent by shifts in diplomacy that is seen in the Amar, Caldari, and Gallente Minmatar militia alliances dissolve. Observers of Capsuleer paramilitaries, mercenaries, and outer region fighters have mixed views of the prospects for advantage to flow to any given empire with this move, with many suggesting it is considerable gamble with great potential for disruption in both war zones. Okay, so this is the big one, right? This is direct enlistment. This means that you can now join the empire, the faction warfare, without leaving your parent corporation or alliance. The big thing the only thing I really want to comment here is that like it's hard to feel not like we're being kicked while we're down in the fact that they're like, oh yeah, this change is especially being loved by the big. Oh no, it's the Big Four, not the Big Eight. My bad. We were just reading about the Caldari and the Big Eight. I was about to say, like, I am at. It is interesting that with all these changes, it makes it so that the Gallente are now the only ones that are locked out of Jita. But that being said, that makes it only all the more important to join Gallente in a organized group like Aderon Robotics or Hungry or Sedit or one of the others. Wait, is Sedit leaving Faction Warfare now? I can't remember. I think so. Either way, Network. That's the one I was thinking of. And various others. Because there is logistics to get things into the Faction Warfare zone, but you do want to be part of Gallente because we have the best fighters. And all of them are the people that are lazy ISK farmers. So come to the Gallente and help us win back the war zone. All right. Other than that, I think that's about it for that. Pretty straightforward. Amar and Gallente military authorizes, right? Authorizes, not authorities. No, there's no T. Amar and Gallente military authorizes order. It is authority. Is that a typo? Somebody help me out. Authorities? That's not a word, right? Hey! Sean is most kind and also 100% correct. Joinator today. That's a typo. It's authorities, right? Can we all just agree it's authorities before I move on? But I thought it was authoring too, but the authoring doesn't order a truce. Authorize? Gallente military authorizes truce. Yeah. You're right. No. It would be Gallente military authorities authorize or order truce. Yeah, the fact that it is a typo is obvious, but what is the actual word? Thank you, by the way, very much, Sean. I think it's Amar and Gallente military authorities order truce in response to Caldari Minmatar Treaty and ceasefire. Okay, great. Man, I am not going to enjoy editing this one. Oh, yeah, they do spell it right directly below it. Thanks, Lumi. Or, sorry, thanks, Nixie. Okay. Let's go. Amar and Gallente military authorizes... Hold on. Okay. Amar and Gallente military authorities order truce in response to Caldari Mimitar Treaty and ceasefire. Pashani, Genesis. Amar and Gallente militaries authorities have taken rapid steps to order a ceasefire between their respective capsular militias, the 24th Imperial Crusade, and the Federal Defense Union. Amar and Gallente negotiators continue to work on a formal agreement in a diplomatic conference in the Panashi system, but the signing of the Caldari Mimitar Treaty of Arakan and the formal ceasefire order for 11 Nes today has led to the Amar Ministry of War and the Federal Security Council to issue an urgent ceasefire order to match the effective cessation of hostilities between the Caldari Mimitar militias. Negotiations between the Amara Empire's royal heir Ursia Corazor and Gallente Federation's counselor Waiki Kaira are understood to be at an advanced stage, with the outlines of a non-intervention treaty said to be settled. Outstanding matters are reported to include a matter of continuing economic sanctions levied by the Gallente Federation on certain Amara organizations and officials, together with the status of Federation citizens held prisoners or slaves in various parts of the greater Amar Empire. The Amar Empire appears to be concerned to establish better trade relations with the Federation, but is continuing to avoid secessions on the vexed question of Triglavian technology. So this basically says that while the Amar and the Gallente are working on negotiations, there are some sticking points in their negotiations, specifically the Gallente wanting their captured / enslaved people back, and the Amar want their sanctions removed, which that sounds like pretty normal negotiation terms. The Amar having technology and the Gallente not having technology means the Amar have kept that off the table. Information trading or what is it? A research agreement in a Stellaris turn of phrase, I guess. Is kind of off the table though, because we don't have anything that's worth it for them to trade. That's probably that position of some strength that they were talking about in the previous video or World News, New Eden News. And, but, however, the move by the Caldari and the Mimitar have made it so that they have decided to move forward with their own ceasefire, not the full treaty, but just a ceasefire, temporary ceasefire, in order to respond to this whole situation. So that way, because this could be really, like, if the Caldari and the Mimitar had had their ceasefire, but the Amar and Gallente had not, like, that would rapidly create a very complicated situation. So, this is a very mundane political move, if you think about it. And no, I'm not just trying to justify why the Gallente are working with the Amar. I'm just saying. Federation increases security status of Intaki despite continuing violence on Intaki Prime. Intaki Prime, placid. Federation authorities have increased the security status of Intaki system to 0.6 and lifted a moratorium on the anchoring of capsular structures, despite continuing violence and civil unrest on the planet of Intaki Prime. Concord has received notice of the status change and the reauthorization of capsular structure rights under the ULI Convention, but has expressed concern at the level of violence in populated centers on Intaki Prime. Civil disturbances and sporadic street fighting in Lenokia, largest city and cultural capital of Intaki Prime, have entered their second week, while isolated incidents of violence have erupted in Navi Akat, the administrative capital and seat of the Intaki Assembly. A joint call for calm from the visiting Federal Senate delegation and Executive Council of the Intaki Assembly appears to have fallen on deaf ears, as a number of riots have taken place, with shootings and bombings adding to the lethal swirl of violence on the Intaki homeworld. Chief Counselor Vera Unsalacio of the Intaki Assembly's executive has mobilized the Intaki militia to support the city constabularies and planetary gendarmes in keeping peace. Federal Marines have been withdrawn to Kanta Yavat spaceport, federal compounds, and naval installations across the planet, following an urgent request by President Selis Agard and by Senators Kellen Ontbod and Shalin Ramnav, leading the Senate delegation inspection tour. Jonas Ivstara, leader of the Intaki Autonomous Movement, is also reported to have begun talks with the main factions of the Free Intaki Army in an effort to halt attacks on the Federation personnel and property. So this is interesting. Basically, this is just a reminder that like what the Gallente did was what Selis Agard did was a huge deal. Well, no, it's not a Canadian word, Sean. It's a French word, right? Like, because the Gallente are French, so I assume if it's also a Canadian word, my first guess is that it's actually a French word. Okay, so yeah, okay. Great. Either way, so the situation continues to escalate. I am actually going to speculate about this one in the form of a prediction. Ready? My prediction is that if the Gallente do not succeed in completing at least half of the research agreement, and therefore don't get any of the shipcaster progress at all, we may lose Intaki as a headquarters system. In fact, if we do not successfully complete the shipcaster, we may lose Intaki as a headquarters system. At this point, they've set up that it could go either way. And more importantly, they've set up key characters. They've given names. The question I have to ask myself is, why does this last paragraph exist? The reason why this last paragraph exists is to establish all of the characters, their positions, and what's about to happen. There is a debate about whether or not what Selis Agard did was proper, and whether or not this whole action should be undone. So, depending on how this narrative goes, it could go either way. Because they set that up, it feels to me like since the Gallente are behind, the Gallente may in fact just lose their headquarters completely if they also do not succeed in the shipcaster. It could potentially completely disgrace, be a political catastrophe for Selis Agard. So, I think that's my. Again, this is tinfoil based on what I'm reading here, but that's the best way I can help explain or interpret what I'm seeing based on all of the stuff, right? The other thing I want to know, or that I'm curious about, is that it did move up to 0.6, and also now that it is 0.6, the structure rights are enacted. My question was, why didn't it happen with lead foil? You got to get the Mad Hatter in there. No, that's Mercury. Anyway, the status change. So why didn't they allow us to anchor structures at 0.5? Real simple. If it's 0.6, let's actually take a step back and look at what's happening here. Intaki changed without changing. When it went to high sec, there were still several ways it was in fact still low sec. It still had low sec moons. It still had low sec belts. So what did they do? They turned off the belts spawning in Tranquility, I believe, and they didn't allow us to anchor any structures, right? So now, instead of rather than reseeding all the moons, all they have to do is make the system a 0.6. Now you can't mine on the moons. Now you can anchor again. That works. What's up, Tabat? Is AWOXing a big deal in faction warfare? It has been, but I think that this change is going to make it less so. But it is very, very rare. I get AWOX like once in a blue moon, to be honest. All right. News in brief. CDIA warns of increased espionage and treachery, theft activities in mercenaries and smugglers. This is the event has this mercenaries operating. Seems like it's probably the Deathless's crew. We've talked about this before. Heavy fighting between Capsuleer alliances over Keepstar and Pure Blind system of X47L TAC-Q. Man, is that not the kindest way that CCP could have possibly have phrased what happened for themselves? A more appropriate headline would be fluid network failure in the system of X47L TAC-Q causing momentary outage of all Capsuleer systems within that area. Capsuleer, but whatever. Capsuleer paramilitaries reported recruited by state to aid in acquisition of cellular transmitter technology. See, yeah, I mean, of course the state want everyone to help them get the transmitter technology. Either way, Capsuleer warlords on all sides vow to fight amidst chaos and communications network overloads. Oh, they did reference it. Mobby. Amark Empire military commanders accused of encouraging loyalists to raid state shipcaster research sites. So yeah, the Caldari are being told to raid stellar transmuters. The Amar are being told to do shipcasters. Multiple Keepstars and Fortizars across Pureblind regions under siege. A major nullsec power clash. Federation military sources claims Capsuleer's right to enforce technology sharing protocols by any means. Go forth! Get it all! Angel Cartel raiders strike targets in Flossiswin as Republic struggles with the logistical relieving planetary forces. That's really interesting, but I don't know much about what that could mean yet. Flossiswin is always a very interesting system because of its history of faction warfare. Republic Security Services restrict operations in Caldari State following treaty. Refuses to comment on Capsuleer loyalists. That's odd. Because, so the only one that's being told, not being told to go take the technology from the other people so far is the Mimitar. The Mimitar are specifically being told to not go into Caldari space. Refuses to comment on Capsuleer loyalists. I guess, yeah, whatever, fine. Concord conflict monitors warn of chaotic free-for-all as Capsuleers and mercenaries vie for Triglavian technology. There you go. Edencom investigates reports of Triglavian forces fighting Sanchez Nation raiders in recent planetary incursions. Okay. Why does this matter? Why does this one matter? Why does this one matter? So, I think it was 2 world news ago. I think I just put up the video about it. The edited version yesterday. Which not enough of you have gone and seen. Go watch it. I mention the whole threat of invasions by Svarog. Right? Edencom warns of possible new invasion by Svarog clade. And at the time, I mentioned it felt to me as like extreme tinfoil that this might be related to Krezhnik Svarog, the only other named Svarog that we know. Krezhnik Svarog was created by... I loved the free-for-all, by the way. Holy crap, I need to talk about that. But after this. Yeah, Svarog, Invasion 2 Svarog Boogaloo. So, Krezhnik Svarog was created during the, when Sancha invaded, or intruded into Triglavian space. Zoria, so, hold on. I'm not going to go into the whole story right now, but if you want to, you can watch my thing about Sancha's. I've done a couple of videos now about Sancha, and their relationship with the Triglavians. But in HFN 5, it says, no, in HFN 4, it says convocation of, no. Yeah. So, real quick, in the data streams, in HFN 4, in all of the 4th data streams, there's always a request to progress by winnowing the discourses in one way or another, right? Or that's being completed in some way. It's basically the 4 is the decision point for most of the data stream sets. So in this case, though, like, actually, let me just in AEA 4, which is the Drifter one. It says, Prayer of the Detached Executive Troika for the sublimation of Pashlas Flow has evoked procession from Convocation of Triglav outside of the struggle that requires winnowing of all discourses, operating as elements in relation to the ancient enemy as Daja through semiosis. Detached Executive Troika is granted mandate in Subornos to invoke countervailing imperatives without a reverse time proving. Convocation affirms imperatives on Detached Executive Troika to maintain playful communion over repeating time with clades assembled and subclade militants and technical. So what are they saying here? What they're saying here is the Zoria Triglav sent a message back to the Convocation of Triglav outside of the struggle with a request for them to go through all of the discourse involving the drifters and let them know how to proceed. Okay? And then the or rather, are asking to be moved to the next step. They're asking to proceed, right? They're asking to escalate the issue. The detective, and then the Convocation of Triglav outside of the struggle responds by approving the prayer and granting a new mandate that is subordinate to. Yeah, another mandate for them that is to start doing counteracting measures against the drifters without having to go back and reaffirm it in the, from now on. And then the convocation once again affirms the imperative for Zoria to remain in friendly communication with both the clades assembled and the subclades militant and technical. So yeah. Whereas, so basically there's like, Zoria's like, hey, can this move forward? And the convocation says, yes, here's your new instructions, right? This happens with a couple of them. In this case, though, we get this. Convocation of Triglav outside of the struggle receives prayer from Detached Executive Troika for sublimation of Pashlas Flow for evolution of the procession of flow winnowing discourses, operating as elements in relation to Hivelink 4 and Narodnia. So far, basically the exact same. Convocation denied relief of prayer from the Detached Executive Troika for expanded mandate in Subornos concerning corruption of Hivelink and corrupted Narodnia. No, you don't get to do it. Convocation invoked special mandate for advancing time evoked operational Troika. So instead, from now on in the future, we are invoking a special mandate for a newly created operational Troika. So let's hear more about that operational Troika. Not the detached executive Troika, but a new operational Troika. The Convocation of Triglav outside of the struggle by imperative invokes Special Operation Troika for extirpation of corrupted Narodnia from Dazbog subclade as Svarog clade. Special Operations Troika shall have mandate in Subornos for advancing time grave communion with clades assembled and subclades militant to realize the accepted noema of extirpation of corrupted Narodnia and hive linking within the flow of Viraj, the domain of Buyan, and the ancient domains. So what happened? What we see here is this time the convocation says no. We are going to create a new special operations Troika, and that special operations Troika is for the extirpation of corrupted Narodnia. Now, and I've talked about this before, we are now going, like, you've got your tinfoil hat on from the last thing, right? Go take a second tinfoil hat and put it on top of it, because realize that this is not only tinfoil, but this is a tinfoil that is like, this is my pet theory that a lot of people disagree with, but I strongly believe in. Okay, so I believe that the Dazbog subclade has been corrupted by Sancha. Again, if you go back and watch my Sancha video, I explain all of that. So from there, I think gold might be too conductive. It all comes down to how you interpret this line. Is it the Convocation of Triglav outside of this, or sorry, is it the Special Operations Troika for extirpation of corrupted Narodnia? and it is from the Dazbog subclade of the Svarog clade? Or is it the Special Operations Troika for the extirpation of corrupted Narodnia from the Dazbog subclade and Svarog clade? Which one of those two is how that's interpreted? Now, afterwards, it just refers to it as the Special Operations Troika. And I think later on they refer to it as... oh, this is AEA. My bad. HFN. All right. It says... Yeah, they only ever refer to it as the Special Operations Troika, I believe, from that point on. The Koshoi, the Paramount Street Troika of Color. Yeah. Okay, so I think that... Okay, either way, my theory is that... well, okay. Fine, we'll go over it. Yes, the sites seem to be very, very good in general. We will go over the actual event after this. But just real quick. In the first one, it refers to the fact that the Dazbog subclade of the Svarog clade encounters a bunch of the Sancha, and then it just says, and we killed them. But in other data streams, whenever there's a fight that's done, it says how it was recorded. This one does not. In HFN2, another group of the Veles clade encounters a Sancha, and the Sancha board the ship and almost start corrupting the people, the Narodnia, and so they have to burn the ship. So that's what happened when the Veles hits them. And then once again, the Perun clade reports that now Sancha's corrupting one of the pylons. And so they send the Dazbog subclade of the Svarog clade, and they just report, it's done. And then next thing we know, we see this whole thing about how there's needing to be a special operations troika. I start at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. I just haven't been streaming on Tuesdays for the last couple of Tuesdays. Sorry. We did the New Eden news more or less so far. So the reason why I say this is I think that that Sancha had corrupted the Dazbog subclade, and those two reports are relatively false. And now there needs to be a special operations troika, because in here they pull up a record of their connections with what I believe to be the Sleeper Society that required a total extirpation of the society with a program of integrity checking and immolation of contacts. And they said not limited to physical presence of hive linking augmentations, blah, 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 blah. And then also they say the whole thing about the mandate for hive linking within the flow of Virage, which the flow of Virage is not the Abyss, as we know. The flow of Virage is more like their society. So, this statement of the flow of Virage and the domain of Beyond, the fact that the corruption is also in the domain of Beyond in the flow of Virage suggests to me that this wasn't just they don't like the Sancha and now are sending a special operations group to kill the Sancha because they really don't like the Sancha. Doesn't feel that way to me. Right. So the point is that we've heard nothing about this, and Krezhnik Svarog has been relatively silent. However, with the Svarog getting ready for a new invasion, and now today we see this line where Sancha's Nation Raiders are the ones being attacked by new planetary incursions by the Triglavian forces, seems to suggest that maybe Krezhnik Svarog has been busy in the domain of Buyan, and only now now that the invasions are done and all that stuff, because also it says that the Krezhnik's resources are under Zoria's in priority, that the priorities was to Zoria's efforts in invasions. So it could very well be that now Krezhnik is ready to do his invasion to attack Sancha, which is very possible. which oddly enough would make Svarog and Amar pretty good allies. What is happening is the Shadow War. All right, so, but that's about it for the New Eden news for today. What is it? March 5th, 14th, YC125. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all my sponsors and supporters. If you're watching this live, keep on watching. But if not, thank you for watching this long video, including the end part where we had a bit of a rabbit hole. But either way, I do want to thank all my sponsors, including my top supporters: Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arydanika the Queen, Belligerent Neckbeard, BlackRoseNoble, Bomber's Bar, Dajat Lemmont, Drake, GuldanAgeStories, Kuhn, Kuhn, LM1, Lumi, Malak Starfire, Midnight Space Monkey, Not Just Fun, Seats Aplenty, Serenolin with No Eyes, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, Grendel, Yanti, Leopuff, Zaul Nex, as well as my Immortal tier supporters, Eboleet, May, Merc Utan, and Rid. Thank you guys so much. Oh, it's Pi Day! Happy Pi Day! And Happy Pi Day! Unless you're watching the recording of this, in which case it's no longer Happy Pi Day, but it was for us. So there you go. 07. Excellent. That was my best segment of all time. Let's go to an ad. Like the stream. Please have pity upon my soul. I'm going to play an ad, and then we're going to move on to the actual event. That's what I get for attempting to read ahead, because I read J. Kuhn, but then I started to read LM1. So I hit L right as I got past J, so my mouth just said J. LaCoon. Oh, boy. All right. Figure you're all back now. Probably. The path to war. So to everybody who's been like, what's here? What's here? This is what is here. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Urgent news, Capsuleers. The face of warfare in New Eden continues to evolve as long-held alliances between empires have fractured, and the heat has just been turned up again. Empire and Capsuleer research efforts into Triglavian technology has provided an opportunity to build brand new interstellar shipcasters, allowing for the long-distance transport of ships across star systems directly into the war zone. This development alone has plunged the empires into fierce competition and conflict. Additionally, direct enlistment now affords Capsuleers the choice of entering faction warfare without leaving their player corporations or alliance. The new Shadow War event has also begun, and your continued participation in the narrative arc unfolding in New Eden will directly influence who gets their hands on the coveted interstellar shipcaster technology first. Also, Corp and Alliance emblems on all remaining Eve ships have been released, asterisk. So you can fly your colors no matter what you take into battle. Technicality. Freedom is the right of all warriors, and the new features of Faction Warfare Direct Enlistment allows you to participate in faction warfare activities without having to leave your current player, corporation, or alliance. Within this feature, personal enlistment allows you to enroll via this new pathway, enabling FW participation without leaving a currently aligned player corp. You can still join Faction Warfare via the currently existing pathway, joining a militia corp, and this comes under group enlistment. It is possible that within any player corp that there may be members siding with any of the 4 major empires. But for those who want to avoid diplomatic incidents, corp directors can select which of the 4 they will permit members to personally enlist with. Okay, so let's back up to the first 2 bits. Well, actually, no, we'll talk about the event when we talk about the event. So direct enlistment is now here, guys. So by default, here's the thing that's really important. By default, every corporation, everybody can join all 4 empires. That means as of right now, unless your CEO or director has done something, you can join a different militia than than a fellow player. Leaving and joining faction warfare. If you leave faction warfare via this method, you'll be out for 24 hours. This actually introduces an interesting new mechanic, which I call long-term, or you know, I don't have a name for it yet, but it's like a limited engagement, right? So let's say I'm in a corp or alliance that doesn't allow friendly fire, but for some reason I want to enable friendly fire between me and my alt, and somehow I can be pretty sure that there aren't other militiamen around. Like, for instance, if I want to be super ballsy and say web a hauler or something like that, I could, in theory, put one of my characters into one of the militias and put the other character into the other militia and then just web myself freely. And then when I get to where I'm going, just drop militia with both of them and be done with it. That's just one example of how that could be used in a very interesting way. However, it does also mean that you could very easily end up on the wrong side of a war of like somebody that you thought you were friends with. This could, in theory, make nullsec fleets look super weird, right? Like this could make, in theory, make the, like, you could have in a less organized alliance, you could definitely see where people form up and there'll be people on both sides of the militia at the form up. Well, you don't actually get ganked by the faction. Well, you just need to be in the other side of the war zone, right? So if you're trying to go within Gallente Caldari space, you'd be like Amar Mimitar. If you're wanting to go through Amar Mimitar space, you'd go Caldari Gallente. So that way there's no faction police. Or better yet, if you're a nullsec, you just do either one because you're a nullsec. Yeah, hey, Marcus, I wasn't going to say my name. All right, so, yeah, that's interesting. Now, casting their first ship, Shadow War event. Following the Empire's Frontier event last year, the Big Four of the New Eden find themselves at different stages of advancement in the race to take advantage of the Triglavian technology, and that race continues now with your support. Stellar transmuters and transport relay technology can now be used to create interstellar shipcasters, with the success of this endeavor granting an Empire the ability to project ships from the HQ system directly into faction warfare conflict hotspots. I'm still reading that as battlefield, by the way. Research data nodes, waylaid couriers, and besieged laboratory sites present opportunities to hack, fight, and salvage for secret research fragments that can be used to manufacture completed data cores that can then be delivered back to your empire for rewards and progress points. Each of these sites are aimed at different classes of ships, with research data nodes allowing for Tech 1 and Navy frigates, waylaid courier sites allowing for Tech 1 and faction destroyers. This is incorrect. The patch notes and the in-game text does say faction destroyers, and Tech 2 frigates. In other words, the Kikimora and the... Yep, the Kikimora can get in. And besieged laboratories allowing for the entry of battle cruisers and Navy battle cruiser classes Tech 2 and plus Tech 2 Tech 2 cruisers. So not Tech 3 cruisers. Be wary though, as all of the sites contain hostile NPCs to defend against. In addition, those who are out to steal the best loot from under your nose will be putting themselves in harm's way, as these sites will give suspect flags to anyone entering them. This will allow other players to engage them and you in combat without fear of Concord intervention in HiSec. To support the Caldari cause, you can steal stellar transmuters tech from the Amara Mimitar by targeting sites in the faction war zone systems controlled by the Amara Mimitar, as well as within the HiSec systems in the Kasana, Raya, Tiat, and Ani constellations. To lend your weight to either the Amar or Mimitar cause, you must steal transport relay tech from the Caldari by targeting sites in the Iokin and Minin constellations, as well as the Caldari-controlled faction warfare space. Finally, to bring the Gallente up to speed, you'll need to steal both types of technology from all of the sites mentioned above. If those loyal to the Gallente manage to acquire any of the above tech, capsuleers aligned with the other empires can expect Gallente sites to eventually spawn in the Intaki system, as well as within the Karante Tani constellation and within the Gallente-controlled faction warfare space. Open your once your empire has obtained both stellar transmuter and transport technology tech by any means necessary, the next step will be to construct the stellar transmuter ship, the interstellar shipcaster. This will involve the harvesting of materials from Pochvin and moons, carrying out industry jobs, and then delivering the output to your empire. Participating capsuleers who serve their chosen empire well can also gain personal progression rewards through the Shadow War event, linked to points gained for achieving various empire objectives. These rewards include new combat boosters tailored to specific empire ship characteristics, and 11 fresh ship skins for each empire, including all new Penumbral Shadow skins, as well as Versus Red Force and Blue Force skins available for some hulls for the first time. Okay, whew. So, first and foremost, I'm going to just put this out there, first and foremost, just so that we get it out there. While I did mention in the New 80 News segment that we could very well lose Intaki if we fail to make progress fast enough in this, there is a key word that there is a key thing to this thing. Like, too often we imply something in what CCP says, and then you can go back and you can see, oh, wait, they never said that, right? So it's really important to see what they're actually saying here and realize that they will say it if they mean it, right? What I find really interesting thing, the key here is, you know what the most important word in this entire segment for me is? Where was it? It's in the first paragraph, first section. Can anyone guess? Did anyone else catch it? There it is. There it is. Yeah. There it is. So, if they had just finished the sentence at technology, then it would open up the possibility that one of the sides would not get it. By suggesting that it is first, it does seem to imply that the expectation is all four empires will get it eventually, which makes a lot of sense, because it's like, it's not like the technology is going to go away. It should only get easier and easier for Gallente to finally one day steal it from the other two and then build their own over time. Although it's worth noting that at some point, if all three of the other empires finish it, then it'll be only the Gallente that needs the parts from Pochvin, which means that, man, whew, we just have a hard time of it. Okay, so a couple of other notes. Gallente really is hard mode in EVE. It's fine. If you want to discuss Shadow War in any shape or form in EVE, I don't know if you do interviews, Ashdrathi. Been there, done that. I do interviews, but I have a lot of the information already. I do want to talk to people about it, but at this point, I still just I might not. I just have a lot to go over today. My tinfoil is that if the Gallente fail to complete their objectives, they will use Leopold to buy it from the death list. Have we done has anybody done a check for Leopold today? Where's Leopold today? That's what I want to know. Okay, either way. Also, it has been confirmed to me that the sites are significantly more prevalent and faster respawning in the constellation around the headquarters. So the high-sec constellation, which is another way that things are harder for the Gallente, because that's the Gallente are the only ones shut out of Caldari space. But either way. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, just DM me on Discord like a synopsis of what you want to talk about, and then I can figure out what I want to, how I can work it in. All right, so Warpaint, emblems on all ships, Asterisk. With direct enlistment giving you the ability to stay on your current corporation or alliance and still fight on behalf of your current chosen empire in faction warfare, the arrival in Corp Alliance emblems on all remaining Asterisk EVE ships means the chance to display your allegiance no matter what you fly, asterisk. Player Corps and Alliance emblems on all battleships, carriers, supercarriers, Titans, and all remaining dreadnoughts, battlecruisers, and freighters are not all now available in the Paragon stores. That's actually 100% accurate. Get busy completing missions objectives for your nearest Paragon's fulfillment center and collect those Evermarks because you can now spend them on Corp Alliance emblems for any ship you desire, asterisk. Why all the asterisks? The Bustard still doesn't have one. I don't know why. You tell me. Hold on. That's me this morning. So I agree they gave it to all the combat ships, but technicality. All right, so 20th anniversary mosaic. At a time when a history is being made in Empire space and Capsuleers are making their mark in faction warfare, you still have time to get your character on EVE's incredible 20th anniversary mosaic and become part of the fabric of New Eden. To get on the mosaic, just log into EVE Online and complete a daily challenge on 3 occasions between now and the 22nd of March. You still have 8 days as of this recording. These challenges will alternate between Skilling Spree, Mining Blitz, and a Skillers in the Abyss, which we've now actually gotten a couple of Skilling Spree, which is nice. In addition, there is a sale on select character apparel on the EVE Online. Yeah. We've already done all that stuff. You'll receive a mosaic email confirmation. We already went over all that before. As mentioned in a recent news item on changes to the EVE established calendar, some of the events have come to expect at certain times of the year will be replaced by faction campaigns. As a result, the Guristas have shifted their focus onto other pressing matters instead of the hunt this year. So keep your eyes open for what's coming soon. Okay, hold on. So hear me out. The other 2 irregular frigates that were put in were the Guristas and the Angels. It could be related to the Deathless reveal because the mercenaries. So that's my tinfoil now, is that the Deathless will be revealed and the Guristas and the Angels are trying to catch up because the Guristas and the Angels are also looking for the shipcaster technology according to the descriptions, unless they change the descriptions. So I'm not too happy that they're canceling all of the other events. But I still don't understand why they didn't just do the Angel one anyways. But, and it also means that it's kind of interesting that we're not going to see a hunt again. That means geckos, man. Geckos are going to be expensive this year. Unless the upcoming thing with the Guristas changes that. Well, I believe that the mercenaries that are in this event are the Deathless' squad. Well, you're right. There is no High-Sec Care Bears event. That's true. Yet. Okay. So, patch notes. Oh, yeah. There was an issue with Mac OS not being able to launch. They actually got that fixed pretty quickly today, all things considered. All right, Capsuleers. Hold on a second. All right. And there. And sure. What? I don't know about all that. All right. You're not derailing me right now. I'm going to stay focused. Stay on target. Stay on target. Okay. So, brand new factional campaign is launched. New Shipcaster Shadow War. Capsuleers can choose to enlist for one of the major 4 empires in their efforts to steal technology from other empires. Content includes hacking, combat, salvaging, mining, industry, and PvP gameplay. Rewards include exclusive skins. We'll be going over all that. You can sign up via the agency. Research, besieged labs, and waylay courier sites can be found in low-second faction warfare systems controlled by each empire with their respective technology, as well as in high-security space in and around the empire's chosen HQ systems. Be aware, all sites will become visible on the overview when Encapsulator warps to them. This includes the hacking site. Research data node hacking sites require core scan probes to locate, and you'll need a data analyzer to access the containers. These hacking sites are limited to Navy faction and Tech 1 frigates. So, a couple things about that. One, the Estero is not allowed in to the research data node hacking site. I've gotten that. I've double checked that one. However, what's interesting is that the scanning does in fact. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. So the data sites do appear on the overview when they are completed. So, in theory, you could actually just have a dedicated scanner and have a different ship go in and do the hacking if you really, really wanted to. But in general, it looks like the Navy faction frigates are going to be the king of this site. From my understanding, which I haven't done them yet, although I'm going to do one if we got a little bit later, or hopefully we'll go find one. The combat in the sites are, they aren't nothing. So make sure to have like a proper combat ship, at least actually tank your exploration frigate. Also, from my understanding with the research data node, if you kill the last rat, they respawn. But if you don't kill the last rat, you can still hack the sites. So you basically want to kill them down to 1, and then you're done. Yes, they have a bunch of EOR. Waylay courier salvaging sites will require players to destroy NPCs and have a fitted salvager module. Due to the complexity of the encryption used for the classified courier wrecks, salvaging drones are not capable of accessing them. These salvaging sites are limited to Tech 1 and faction destroyers and Tech 1 faction and Tech 2 frigates. So this does not allow... Or no, this does allow faction destroyers. So this does include the Kikimora. Sorry. It also is all the Tech 2 frigates. So like hey, thanks for that, Marcus. So that includes like assault frigates and stuff like that, which a lot of people have already started to look at. Interestingly, now remember, you do have to have a salvager, and the points are for the salvaging. So having a ship with a utility high is really valuable. I've been using my Catalyst Navy issue. I just pulled the NOS and put it on, and I think I'm going to change out the Repper for a non-Ansil, and it should be good to go. The Besieged Research Lab will require dangerous combat, destroy... Oh, yeah, by the way, well, we'll talk about each of the sites when we get there, I guess. But, whatever. The Waylay Courier salvaging sites are multiple waves of rats, like 3 or 4 waves of these rats. And then there's like 4 different cans. 5? There's 5 different cans in the site. But they're started out as being called guarded courier wreck. And then when you're done killing enough rats on like the 3rd or 4th wave, it'll complete. All of the remaining rats will warp off, and the cans will switch over, or the large collidable objects will switch over to like almost like hacking cans, a square with an X in it. And then you use the salvager on that, and it's just normal chance based. And then when that completes, then you can open up the can and loot the stuff. Okay. Besieged research labs will require dangerous combat, destroy NPCs which have reinforced an enemy or an Empire laboratory. And once you've cleared them out, destroy the lab and take the contents for yourself. They can be completed solo, but expect a challenge. You may want to bring friends. These dangerous combat sites are limited to Tech 1 and Navy battlecruisers, Tech 1 faction and Tech 2 cruisers, and all frigates and destroyers, including Tech 3 and below. So no Tech 3 cruisers, no I guess no Drekovec. Shoot. I if Satoni's here, he can confirm that. But it looks like no Drekovic, but no command ships. Steal and recover research data fragments, index files, and decryption keys and data core blueprints from these sites. Manufacture data cores using blueprints and turn them in to your faction for reward crates and event progression points used to unlock more rewards. Here's a biggie. This is one of the ways that I was really, really wrong. So my suspicion was there were 3 types of sites, 3 types of items. So naturally you would go and get those. I was wrong. You can get all of it from each of the sites. I haven't talked to anybody who's done the combat site yet, but both the hacking site and the salvage site, I got enough in 2 different salvage sites, which I was with somebody else, so I only got half the cans. I got enough to build 2 data cores total. And everything besides the minerals and the PI. So, yeah. Also, I've mentioned a few times last week that the recursive computing nodes or whatever are going to spike or, be important. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks. We've all been complaining about how long the Shadow War has been. I'm sure a few of you have quietly taken advantage of these 2 facts. And guess what? You just made a lot of money. All right. You can turn the data cores in at Amar Mehator, Caldari Anamon, Gallente Intaki, and Mimitar Ammo. Transport relay research associated sites will be initially present in the Caldari-occupied factional warfare systems and in the high-sec around Anamon in the Iokin and Minin constellation. Stellar transmuter research associated sites will be initially present in the Amar and Mimitar-occupied factional warfare systems and also including the high-sec around Mehator and Ammo in the Kisana, Ryra, Tiat, and Ani constellations. The locations where these sites will be available will increase as each faction gains mastery over each research. These sites will give all Capsuleers a suspect timer when taking the acceleration gate into the site, so be prepared for intense PvP action. Be aware that this means that legal combat can happen between otherwise friendly players, such as members of allied militias. You never know who might happen to be on someone else's payroll. The construction phase will unlock once the faction completes both the relay transport and stellar transmute research projects. Okay, great. So going back to this, I interpreted this incorrectly at first. I thought this meant that over time, sites will be spawning more. But no, what they're saying is that when the Amar get the transportation technology, or the Mimitar get the transportation technology, or the Gallente get the whatever, they too will start spawning the sites for that. So the locations where the sites will be available will increase as each faction gains mastery over each research. Once the construction phase is the Pochfin stuff, which by the way is not ready for prime time. It looks like the rats aren't even ready yet. So the sites are not live in Pochfin, and from my understanding will not be live on Pochfin until somebody completes the research. Okay, I'm going to update my tinfoil. Ready? If we do begin the research project of the shipcaster, that is when Celis Agard concedes and the other 10 systems go back into low sec. All right, I carry on. Go back into faction warfare. I just find it really, really bizarre that our faction warfare headquarters isn't next to faction warfare space. All right. Direct enlistment is now available. You can now join faction warfare militias as an individual without leaving your corporation. Corporations can choose to limit which faction members can enlist. We talked about that. To sign up, go to any station belonging to the appropriate faction you wish to join and selecting the Enlist Me button in the faction warfare window. You can unenlist anytime in the faction warfare window. There's a 24-hour cooldown. Well, okay, so that having to find the 2 stations thing will be difficult for the idea that I had, but they can both unenlist at any time. And there's a 24-hour cooldown. Wait, at any time? Can you do it while undocked? That would be really bizarre. Following recent political developments between the empires, ceasefires have been declared between the Caldari and Mimitar, as well as the Gallente and the Amar. Caldari and Mimitar players will no longer be at war. Amar and Gallente players will no longer be at war. Players in these groups will no longer be able to capture faction warfare complexes in their former allies' war zones. We've made a number of adjustments to the turret movement sounds. Weapons turrets now have movement sounds as they lock target, change target, and unlock target. These movement sounds are different depending on the size and whether they're energy, hybrid, or projectile turrets. They are best heard when zoomed in on the ship. Turret impact sounds have been enhanced. Improvements in balancing and attenuation of turret impact sounds and turret impact sounds prioritization is now calibrated during large-scale battles. That was the mass test. New tanking layers have been added to impact sounds, that impacts on shields, armors, and hull now sound different. That's pretty cool. Added Alliance and Corporation emblems on all battlecruisers, battleships, carriers, supercarriers, titans, freighters, and all remaining dreadnoughts. All ships now have an Alliance and Corporation emblems unlockable through the Paragon Loyalty Point store. Why do they keep saying that? Why do they keep saying that? Got them at 1.6. Oh, yeah. Cheers for that. I got it. The bust rate is still not there. This was a picture I took this morning. This is a tweet. Okay. Interesting. So, for the record, Marcus, once again, was not bullshitting us. And Leopold is in an error. We're going to put a pin in that. Come back to it later. If you want to know more, go watch my last video. It's been woefully underwatched. All right. The massive Federation Navy project to secure the Intaki system has concluded and is now winding down as the Navy moves its focus towards the potential research and construction of interstellar shipcasters. So obviously that means that, or that seems to suggest that this move from 0.5 to 0.6 is the last one, and now upwell structures can be anchored again, now that there's no moons to mine. You can now toggle the global font shadow. You'll find this option in the text section. What? The global font shadow. Where's it at? General tabs. Text shadow. It hides the other windows, so I can't even tell. I legitimately don't know if I even know what a text shadow is. I'm sure that maybe there's a text shadow, but maybe my colors are such that... Let's try this. No, all that's dark. The whole, like, hold on. Hold up. Certainly doesn't affect this text. I don't know. Whatever. Somebody can tell me what that is. Oh, the market order highlighting? Either way. Oh, is that what it... Okay, whatever. Added more color options for overview window tabs. Character counter has been added to the mailing list. Welcome mail. Simulate ship has been added to the right-click menu of packages shipped. An option to always show your own fleet broadcasts have been added. Oh, okay. A shortcut to open the fleet watch list has been added. A shortcut to clear all broadcast icons have been... Ooh. I like that one. A shortcut to clear all broadcast icons have been added. Filter fields have been added to the market order lists. Include jump gates have been moved to the autopilot settings. Why do I like that one so much as a Logi pilot? Let me explain. So, when somebody starts taking damage, their name turns red. And then when they stop taking damage, or sorry, and they also when they broadcast for reps, then the broadcast icon appears next to their name. However, once they're good, they hit in position sometimes, which clears away the broadcast for reps, but it doesn't clear away the red. from the taking damage. So the next time they start taking damage again, you know a little bit slower. So the solution to this is that when you're in a fleet, I can't have myself on the watch list. What am I doing? Somebody invite me to your fleet. I know you're out there. You know who I'm talking to. All right, so either way, the point is that the way you do it is you can clear the broadcast icons, but that is the menu icon, and then you go down and click it. And the issue is that is in the same spot. Sure, this will work. Yay, this will work. So if I have all these people on my watch list, right? Thanks, Jeff. So I have these people on my watch list, right? I can go here and go to clear broadcast icons. But here's the problem with that. If I've set these all up to be like, okay, well, he's going to be my co-logi, he's my damage dealer, and he's my support, whatever, right? I color code these guys, and I have a whole fleet of color coded guys. So that way I have tracking all my different types of dudes and what they are. And then I go to clear the broadcast icons, and I accidentally click the other clear color, or the other clear line, and oh shit, I've undone all my work. So while I've always loved the ability to clear broadcast icons to make it so you can get rid of those colors in the broadcasts when you don't, if you want to clear them away, so that way you can see them when they do it again or when they need it again. Like I just learned to not do it as much because I would, in the heat of battle, accidentally click clear all colors, and it only takes once, and then they're all wiped out. And now I'm in the middle of a fight, and also screwing things up. So the fact that I can now put it on a hotkey that I can now just hit when I want to do it, it's like heal, 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 and clear. Anytime I want to clear it, I can just clear it. That is excellent. Okay. Thank you for my tangent, for indulging me on my tangent. Include jump gates has been moved to the autopilot settings. That seems reasonable. Filter fields have been added to the market order lists. Oh. I think this is what they mean. Like I can now filter. If I have a whole bunch of stuff up, I can be like, oh, I just want to see my overseer effects, right? Overseer effects. Oh, look, there's my overseer effects. Cool. All right. The dynamic music has now automatically switching to combat music next to wormholes when being attacked. The audio stereo image has been flipped back. I don't know what that means. Improve the client performance in scenes with large amounts of objects, like during a fleet fight. Awkward turtle. Fixed a problem with ambient occlusion at low settings where distant objects were displayed black. And fixed several client crashes. Kind of. Refixed them later. The information listed in the traits of the show info window of medium upwell structures has been updated. The pointer for route before shorter now points to the correct target. That's kind of funny. That means like the pointer window, right? If somebody tries to do the UI element before, it didn't point quite right. The color of the location in current system is now updated when the color theme is changed. Reset settings, reset windows to default compact mode button is functioning again. Okay, sure. Market transaction tabs in wallet now show fractional amounts. You've been having crashes to desktops with no error since patch. Is it Mac? Create decoration button is back in the decorations tab in the corporation window. Yay! I guess we can make medals again. Updated the color for market orders owned by players to differentiate between my orders and the in-range ones in the market window. Good. Reformatted the data in the network data monitor window in engine tools to avoid overlapping text in the default window sizes. Cool, I guess. Cleaned up the engine windows tool and removed unneeded and lag-inducing options. That's actually really good. Engine tools is actually one of the like really good best kept secrets of the game. I think I talked about this in my three things that you don't know about EVE Online or whatever. But if you do Control Shift Alt M, it brings up this menu here. This menu gives you all of your network information. It brings up the FPS monitor. It brings up, this is amazing, the outstanding calls one. Check this out. If I open up something, right, and I click on something, doesn't do anything. But if do you see all those happening? All that happening? Those are, every time my client sends a call to the server, it appears on that list until the server responds. So it already has all this information. So I can cycle between these without actually making any new calls. But if I switch a ship, there's all different kinds of calls. So if I was disconnected from the server, or if the server was not responding in some reason, those outstanding calls would begin to pile up and not go away. So that's why that's really cool. There's also a network monitor if you're trying to keep track of like your actual connections and stuff, and a system memory monitor. So these are all really good if you're trying to debug or diagnose your issues, or just, you know, want to look at your performance and stuff. That is it for patch notes. Let us go into the Shadow War. First and foremost, before we go into anything else, I want to make sure to point out that the Shadow War and direct enlistment are two different things. You can participate in the Shadow War without enlisting in faction warfare, and you can even participate in the Shadow War for a faction that you are not in faction warfare. You can actually be, say, a Caldari militia guy, but yet still side with the Gallente when it comes to who you select and who you earn points for and whose ship skins you earn. Okay? So that's something to keep in mind. This is one of the things that happened last time, was everybody assumed that you needed to be in faction warfare to participate in the faction campaign. That is not true. You can participate in the faction campaign without being in faction warfare. However, oh, you can't? You only get one choice if you're already in a militia? Are you absolutely sure about that? I'll believe you if you can't. If you are 100% sure on that, I'll believe you. But it literally says in the patch notes that even if they're not in the same militia. Okay, fair enough. Maybe they meant like two people that are direct enlistedly. Okay, my bad. I misunderstood. So if your corporation is in faction warfare, then that everyone has to be in that one. Got it. But if your corporation is not in faction warfare itself, but allows direct enlistment to, say, Amarr and Minmatar, one person could go Minmatar, one person could go Amarr. If you directly enlist, are you... Okay, yeah. So if you directly enlist, then you're tied into it. What about the other way around, Satonia? Can you choose a side? If I chose Minmatar for Shadow War, am I locked out of enlisting for any of the other three empires during that time? Yeah, that's an interesting one. Okay, good clarity. But if you're outside of the militia, you can join any of the four sides. That's the point. You can participate completely fine without being in faction warfare. It only... Oh, okay. So you could actually theoretically do that. Okay, so that's how it means. So somebody could, in theory, like Like right now, Ashtarothi is not in militia at all because she's in the COE. So I could, in theory, well, I did join the Gallente earlier, but I could have, in theory, joined the Caldari, but then joined Aederon Robotics, and then I would be a Gallente militiaman doing work for the Caldari. I would be a secret agent of sorts. I mean, that kind of totally tracks with the whole spy theme, right? Like, I like it. I like it. So anybody who joins the militia from this point on is suspect. 07. We have to validate. Yeah. Come with me. Sit in this plex with my neutral alt. Show me that you're progressing it for the Gallente. Oh, wait, no, you can't. That doesn't even work. Crap. Oh, so you don't... Okay, so you can actually participate and help for whoever you want. It's just won't give you... So really, would you say that the... Hold on. Would you say that the selection in the event basically only determines whose skin you get? I guess does turning in give you points? Boy, I thought I was going to be able to walk through this in a very well-structured way and tripped on the gate. No, stop it. Where's the agency? Oh, okay, it does. So, yeah, you could get all of the other points. No, you wouldn't get any of the points without choosing any of the sides. But for the most part, the selection of which side you want mostly controls what skin you get, it sounds like. It sounds like if you wanted to work things around, you could if you wanted to. But your selection permanently locks you in on what skins you get and which side's advancement also advances you. Great. Okay. Now that we are fully clear on the very first point, let's go ahead and move on. To join one of the things, you open up the agency. You go to the faction campaign tab. You won't get points as a Mimitar Shadow War player donating to the Intaki, but you would still get the reward crate and advanced Gallente. Okay. Okay. But you would still get the points for running the sites. You would still get points for building the pieces. You just wouldn't get the turn-in point one. That's it. No, fiction. The selection of Shadow Ward's side has no difference on other players' interaction with you. In fact, I don't even think that you can actually see another person's Shadow War allegiance. Anywho, so you go into the Shadow War. You can also find it in encounters. Yeah, and Mimitar don't get any points for building stellar tech, for example. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. You can't get points for building the data cores for the tech your side already has because they don't care anymore. That makes sense. Okay, cool. So faction campaign, caster Shadow War, and that brings us. You will see like a selection menu. Now, one thing I do like about wait, so there's a lot more points to be had for the Gallente in theory. More opportunities for points at least. So in the selection process now, actually, let me pull up my alt real quick so that way I can show you guys. But in the selection process now, what I like is it does show you the reward track now before you make a selection. So you can see what the rewards are. You go in fully, like, first of all, sorry, before I go deeper, broadly speaking, this event is so much more well put together, so much better put together than the previous events. This is clearly another iteration beyond the previous event system. Most of what I was frustrated by when it came to old events are now solved. I have a few minor nitpicks, but I am very, very happy with what I see with this event. So let's go ahead and real quickly hop over to my other character. Yeah, no one's streaming on Twitch right now because everybody's watching my stream to try to figure out how this whole thing works. Oh, I clicked off the thing. I didn't get the presentation. Whatever. You get that. You don't get the present. You get there. Apparently, a thing pops up that I just apparently clicked at the wrong time for. But this is the overview, and it says the history that I've read a couple times already. So I'm not going to read it right now. You can now read it for yourself. Basically, it tells you the history of what happened, the output, and what is now needed, like the previous faction campaign information. And then you come here and you're able to say like, okay, well, which of these do you want? And when you click on one, it brings you to here, which allows you to see the rewards ahead of time. So you do get to see all of the rewards before you go into it. So you could theoretically be like, okay, well, and you want to scroll, you want to use the scroll bar to go to the side because these over here is the penumbral ones, which are the pimp ones, as it were. So you'll want to decide whether it's the skin that makes you decide, whether it's loyalty that makes you decide. It's also worth noting that this is a faction campaign, which means this will change the scope of the universe. We do not know if any side can be locked out of the construction of a shipcaster yet, or at least I don't know. But we do know that this will decide how soon people get shipcasters and how it will likely shape the universe in other ways, much like the previous faction campaign did, as the empires respond to what we do during this faction campaign. So, the rewards are good. The skins are cool. And if you want to help your team win, then that's what you do, right? Like, so there's plenty of reasons to get into it, and whichever helps you make your decision, you choose your empire. From there, that brings us back to this page. So, as we can see, all three of the other empires are 33% up, where the Gallente one is 0. The reason why is because the Caldari have completed the transport, the Amar and the Gallente, the Amar and the Mimitar have completed transporter, and the Gallente have completed neither. I would have really liked it if we had at least gotten a percent of it based on how much of a percent we did collect during the event, but whatever, cool. So as this goes on, this will update to let people know how much progress we've made in the different stuff, and when these things complete, we'll know. So we've got transmitter tech, transport tech, and the actual construction process itself. Once again, you've got the rewards down here, and this cool thing that says what rewards your next reward and all that sort of stuff, and allows you to claim rewards, etc. Then here's your goals. We can't do the construction yet, but we can do the stellar transmitter and we can do the transport relay. So if you go to them, you can see. So this one is scan down research data nodes. This is salvage 3 Rex. This is find besieged laboratory, manufacture transport relay data core, and deposit 10 transport relay data cores. So in other words, you get points for salvaging, you get points for building it, and then you get points for turning it in. Or you get points for scanning it. Yeah, you get points for obtaining it, you get points for building it, and you get points for turning it in. Okay? So you get what? You get 5 points for scanning down a research data node, 10 points for salvaging 10 Rex, 5 points for finding a besieged laboratory. I assume that means going in. Now, what's interesting is that like that seems to imply that maybe like if you're doing these two, for instance, they can theoretically be shared, but also I've only done the salvage one, so these might change. Yes, the Gallente have the most opportunity for PP. That's correct. So once again, all three of these sites contain all of the pieces required for the data core beyond the minerals and PI. Likewise, the transmuter has basically the same requirements. Also, each of these descriptions tell you what's going on with them, what can be let in, and it allows you to open up the faction warfare map so you can easily find what systems they are in. Once those two are completed, then the interstellar shipcaster will need to be done, and that will be rogue drone defended sites in Pochvin, both mining and hacking sites. But those are not available yet because nobody has actually earned both sides yet. One important thing to note: the sites are far more frequent in the constellation containing the HQ system. So that is usually a high-sec constellation. So if you, for instance, if you're Gallente, you can go through Caldari sites in order to get the Caldari stuff, which you need to go to anyways for other stuff for faction warfare. But at the same time, you might not find as many. Yeah, Imicus Navy is probably good. Helios might be a little bit low. But like a Gallente guy can now go to Amar or Mimitar War high sec and be just fine. But you do get the suspect flag, so there's going to be a lot of suspects running around in those systems. So that should be fun. 1 second. Oh, that's right. Helios can't get in anyways. All right, so one other thing. If you go into the encounters site and you go to faction warfare, and you go to encounters and you go to, nope, it's usually exploration. You go to anomalies. Normally, I use this anomalies sheet to look for sites for events that are next door. This does not work in this event. However, if we go to encounters and faction warfare systems, we can see here there's a Caldari research data node. You can see they are pretty rare. There's 2 more data nodes. I have seen lab. Oh, okay. We can keep going. Hold on. I know I've seen labs before. Data node. There's a laboratory. Now, while I have been told that you can find the salvage sites on here, the waylaid courier or whatever, I haven't seen them yet. And we found the site, but I never found them on here. So I don't know if that's working or not. What's the recommended ship type? So for the data nodes, it would be a Navy faction frigate. For the salvage site, it would be like an assault frigate or a destroyer, preferably with a salvager on it. Like a Navy catalyst is what I liked to use, but like an Algos would be good. I heard that they didn't go after drones that much. The Stratios won't work for much. The combat site will allow the Stratios in, but that's geared for battle cruisers. I know that, Satonia. I'm not claiming anything until I can find it. If I can find you an example, then I'll make the claim for sure. Okay, fine. We'll try that. We'll try that. I wasn't going to make a claim until I had actually found one that wasn't on there yet. I was actually saying it more out loud so that way one of these other people that have been out there doing it today can finally correct me if they've seen one. Black Rise. That starts with B. Did you know that, guys? B's at the beginning of the alphabet, as it turns out. Oh, there it is. Found one. All right. Congratulations, Sitonia. You win, I lose. And by that, I mean I wasn't really, like, invested. All right, so that about does it. As I said, the salvaging site does multiple waves, and then once you've killed enough, the remaining warp off, and the cans unlock, allow you to salvage them. You have to use a salvager. Salvager 2 is highly recommended, but a Salvager 1 does work. Salvaging drones do not work. You do need to salvage to get the points. What actually rewards the points for the reward track? The skins are cool, and the drugs are cool. These drugs are really cool, by the way, guys. I didn't go into those drugs, but these drugs are the rewards for doing the site. They're in the sites, and, you know, whatever. But, like, so there's a booster that ups the electronic warfare of the Empire, one that ups the mobility, and one that ups the tank, and one that ups the weapon systems of that Empire. And they go pretty high. Salvager 2 with max skills has a 1/4 chance. Salvager 1 with max skills has a 1 in 5 chance. There you go. Also, worth noting, the rats inside are Minmatar and Caldari, including the Draugr and the Ichthyrsa. The Draugr does spawn in the destroyer site, even though you can't take a Draugr in, they can. Also, that's what makes me think that these mercenaries are, in fact, the same mercenaries that were the smugglers last time, which would make them the Deathless's team. Yeah. I am not going out in this ship. So, I have this ship for this site, or for what I'm doing today. It was given to me by SpoonS. Thank you very much, SpoonS. What we have here is a Newton and Nos in the high. This is for helping you keep your own cap and or maybe eating an enemy cap. By the way, the rats do have cap. It is not unreasonable to newt them out. And newting them out will take out the tank, the E-War, I think their prop, so their point, their scram, their own newt, etc. You can newt them out, and it is probably not worth it for the destroyer site because you can kill them too fast. But either way, this is probably going to be handy because I could actually newt out the last one. Once, I'm going to kill down to one rat, and then I'm going to newt out that one rat and hack. That's my plan. The reason why I have a cargo scanner is because I'm going to be wandering around in the rear guard, so if I find a Caldari site, I just run the Caldari site, right? And just make my money. Okay. I got very little combat skills, so I'm not sure if I could do this event. You know what the nice thing about this event is, honestly? This event is incredibly good for small teams. You know, it is... There can be ways to solo these sites, but honestly, a small team could do tons of work. Because theoretically speaking, you could have an Imicus that... Or like you could have a Tech 1 exploration frigate that scans down the sites and goes in and salvages the stuff. And then you can have another frigate that goes into the site and hacks the can. And also, well, hell, you could have the, well, theoretically, you could have the other dude go into there and hack the can if it has escort. Does killing faction flag... No. Spawn is time-based, not trigger-based. From what SpoonS was saying, if you kill all but the last rat, a new wave does not come. Yeah, the combat pilot clears the site, the hackers hacks cans. Right, exactly. So, being part of a team is really important. And, like, I'm talking about how to have one salvager. But if you could have, like... You know, if you have a destroyer with, like, if you bring a bunch of Algoses or something like that with a bunch of, then you could just have a bunch of drones or something like that, and then have more salvagers. Or you could, not just an Algos, but you could have a Dragoon or whatever, as somebody pointed out to me earlier. Can I give data cores to Mimitar for their skins? Okay. Can you? Wait, what? Oh, yes, you could. Okay, so you could. Yes, yes. That's yes. If you can turn in to the Mimitar side, unless you go with Mimitar yourself as your faction for the event, you won't progress your track, but you will get the reward loot box from the Mimitar with Mimitar skins and boosters. I don't know what skins are going to be in there, though. I don't have any idea what is going to be in those reward boxes. Wait, hold on. How many data cores do you need to do a reward box? Does anybody know? No salvage drones, correct. How many data cores are needed to turn in? I need all 10? I need 10 to turn it in? I can't just turn in 1? I know you get credit for 10. But I can't just turn in 1. Okay. Fuck. Shoot. Let's go. Let's go get some data cores then. All right. Yeah. Fine. Also, Satonia, one more question. I noticed that I could see the data relay points in there. Does that mean I can see unscanned data relay points? Is that what am I interpreting that correctly? Or are those only ones that have been opened by people? Oh. Okay, that's wild. That is wild. Okay, so I can go into the backline, open up my Faction Warfare map. No, open up my Faction Warfare window in the agency, look for data nodes there, and then hunt them down. Yes, the sites show up on your overview when you warp to them. So I'm going to go to the backline. I'm going to open up my agency, go to Faction Warfare, find the nearest data node, head in that direction, while also looking for Caldari sites. Does this sound right? I think this is right. For a second there, I thought I was jumping into a gate camp first thing, and I was going to be like, well, that's unfortunate. But maybe I get at least one out of their jump. Man, a boon has a lot going on. Are these... Hold on. Nope. I have no idea. So Oin doesn't have one. I don't have to scan it. Right? Yeah. This looks like a lot of fun. I'll have myself back in the corp. I'll have to get myself back into a corp because no one I know anymore plays. Well, COE is recruiting. No. It's not just rearguard, but the Caldari operation points, the other site that I hack, those are only in the back lines. I'm being very careful. I was told the first day of an event, blood is in the water. Yeah, but I think it's going to be a little bit less so this event than other events. Maybe. Because this event is not a sprint, it's a marathon, man. Like, let me tell you. Well, this is neat. Unfortunate. All right. Well, now I find wheelies, state cruisers, and not the data sites. There you go. In today's example of you always find what you're not looking for. Yeah, COE is all about helping new bros, and well, really, our mission is maximizing player engagement with EVE Online. I'm Caldari, doesn't matter. I mean, what race you were born as does not matter. Ash was born True Amar. Yeah, your race doesn't matter. Oh, yeah. Well, boom, my app has been placed. Excellent. Make sure to go to Aderon.org and put in an application there. Also, hop in the Discord. No, yeah. There is no different. Race is 100% cosmetic at this point. There's like 2 hours of training difference between the races. Why limit Malro to Galmil only? Why not allow Minmil if it's about player engagement, I mean? I'm open to changing it. We're just starting it this way because it's easier to loose restrictions than it is to tighten them. Oh no, I forgot about the Solar DLC. Oh no! Holy shite. Look at that. There's a bunch of diamond rats reffing that structure. Yeep. Right, the Mimitar and the Mimitar anymore. Yes, you can move. You're allowed to move freely between the two different corps, Aderon and Malro. Boy, I hope I'm too small a fish for them to go after. All right, so legend has it there will be a site here. How do I tell? How do I tell what? Where the sites are? I use the agency. Mimitar I picked because I love the rustic look. I'm so glad races don't have a big impact. Yeah. Regional Garistas Data Fortress. Get... You know what? I don't want to talk about it. Let's just move on. Does it just say a site is there? If you open up the faction warfare or the agency window and go to the faction warfare subsection, you can see it's not here anymore. There was a data node there. Yeah, data node. Well, okay. It's not perfect. It's still there. Did I miss it? Oh, I can't see the data site when I'm in the system with it. All right, fair enough. Oh, see that's the Caldari Operations Center. That's the other site type of site that I'd like to scan. That is the reason why I'm in the backlines instead of elsewhere. Oh, Timo's an AO Blue Star too. Are the data nodes spawning more often in AO Blue Stars? Ooh, maybe I don't doubt it though. Because of bug. I mean, as I said, so you no longer need to press a button in order to get your points. You can just go and do your stuff and then check afterwards how much points you've made. It's so good, it makes me like want to cry. I will say though, having said that I will now get pedantic or like nitpicky and say I would still like some sort of fanfare every single time I gain points to let me know I did. Like a little bing or like somewhere, something that I can mute if I want to. Because I wasn't even noticing that I was getting points. It's seeming pretty big. State Research Data Node. Hey, here we go. Warning. Capsuleers that activate the acceleration gate to enter this data site will incur a suspect timer and become legal targets for all capsuleers. The salvage site did not have that. There's the Christus one. All right, ready? Oh, cool. Right as I activate, there's nobody in local. And another data site. So they do scram. They can scram. But a lot of them only disrupt. And I think that if they scram, it's not actually for very long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kite them out. I'm going to kill all but one of these crows. Right. This, yeah, so the cheetahs scram and web, the crows disrupt. This one impacts how travels work in the game. Yeah, the shipcasters. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so now I've gotten all... Oh, nope, I got more. Hmm. So I can't just keep one of them alive, it would seem. So also, it's worth noting that as far as damage types goes, there is actually a pretty good complement of damage. And the crows actually, there's 4 different crows. So one for each damage type. So you'd have to actually show info on each individual crow to know which one it is. See, like this one does explosive. This one does thermal, etc. Hopefully they stop warping in things. Let's leave 2 up and see if that works. Oh, I forgot. I forgot I'm not using... Oh, hey, there we go. So in the salvage one, you got quite a bit from each wreck, but there was 4 wrecks in the site. In this one, there's less per can, but there's a bunch of cans. But you don't get rewarded per can, you get rewarded per site, I think. So, hey, rule 6, guys. There it is. Oh, that's a red can. The other one was not a red can. So that's got 14 million in it. So that's really good. Okay. Now I'm passive shield tank, so as they bring me lower, my shields actually do better. Oh no! Suppressor! No! I hate suppressors. Oh! Another rule 6 node. I guess I could just nude out. Well, no, because the nuding won't take out their damage, so it doesn't really matter that much. But me not having a micro warp drive on might help, now that I think about it. Oh, I have too many targets assigned locked. So the thing is that now that I'm in this site, other people could warp to it without having to scan it first. So right now, anyone in this site is a threat. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And they're coming for me too. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Drones out. Drones out. Drones out. I mean, the fact that he's scanning me with combat probes doesn't really matter. He could scan, like, he doesn't need to scan me at all. I don't know why he is. But, just in case. Oh, those are, now it's a core. Did I see combat before? I thought it was combat before. Did it change over to core? Or did I just get super paranoid real quick? There's still more cans. You probably can't even get in there. Oh, that's a good point. Wow, that's a lot of... It's a lot of proby boys. If I can't see any of them, then yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Well, no, because you can absolutely be doing combat probes with a Navy issue. That's one of the good ships to do it with. Although I'm also, now that I think about it, I'm also a fit for fighting, more or less. Also, I haven't gotten any more rats in, so that's always good. Maybe he's just scanning down the normal sites? I don't know, man. We'll keep an eye out for it, but we're also going to just keep on hacking. Because there's little scarier than me that can come in here by itself. And I feel like if he knew what he was doing, he would just come here. Neat. Oh my god. How many 50-40s do they need? All right, hold on. 1, 2. Huh? Well, I officially don't like this map. Ow. Oh my gosh. Am I even going to be able to survive that? Yes. Okay. And... Yay! What? Oh. Cool. Next. Anything Clovops can't come in, thankfully. Yeah, that's true. I reckon it'd be easier with a certain implant. Ah! Aye, that it would. Too bad I'm too much of a schlup to, you know, go and get one. Oh, I'm by myself in the system again. Good. Definitely not worth it. He's talking about black glass. He's teasing me because I don't have black glass. Oh, that's handy. Boom. I like the fact that one site has lots of stuff. Like, yeah, finding the site is one thing, but like, I actually found it pretty okay, and I'm getting lots of stuff. Or at least I've got lots of cans to hack. I don't know if lots of stuff is exactly correct, but... Hey, BPC. Oh yeah, I did. I forgot that note. In the Caldari salvage site right now, instead of a BPC, you get a BPO, which is funny, haha, but doesn't actually do you any good. And also, if you run it as multiple runs at once, you only get credit for the one run. So if you want the points, you just want to run them one run at a time. Also, join the faction, you know, choose a side on your industrial character before you start turning in, finishing the builds, because otherwise you'll do what I did and get only half points. Perfect. So now I got all of this stuff. I got, let's see. Use blueprint. So I need 3 transport relays. 100 of that, and 6 of these. So I got enough. I got an entire BP, or I got one data core worth of stuff. Yeah, you can't copy them, you can't research them, and it'll be cleaned up tomorrow. Oh, so they don't drop wrong anymore? That's good. Yeah, I was mostly saying that as a warning to you guys to not think you're clever and try to run multiple copies at the same time, because then you just screw yourself. My bad. All right, it's not that way anymore. I have a couple of them. You should let me keep my BPO, Sutonia. I promise I won't abuse it. So now I'm in the Caldari Operations Center. This is the other kind of site. This does require you to be in faction warfare in, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scan down the different cans one at a time to figure out which can I want to hack, and then I'm going to hack the can I want and then leave. I'm not in faction warfare right now, so I'm going to leave. I got myself twisted. All right. I guess that about wraps it up for demonstration. Are you guys still in fleet? Should I jump in fleet? Do you guys want to jump into comms? Should I switch out to a different ship? Yeah, well, I seem to get a little bit more mats than I needed for the blueprint that I got, but okay. No, you do not need to join faction warfare to do the Shadow War. All right. We're going to call this experiment a success. Head back to HQ. I don't know, Satonia. That seems like a bit of an optimistic stretch, if you ask me. You've had 2 sites with no BPC? Galmill are probably not going to kill you if you're in Galmill. Again, very optimistic, Satonia. No, I'm just kidding. It is true. No, actually, there are more sites in HiSec, interestingly enough. However, it does give you a suspect flag from going inside. So that should be fun. Embrace your inner pirate. Like, roleplay that you're -5 for the event. Oh, okay. There's more sites in low sec technically? Hold on a second. Oh, wait. Is this one of those, there's more sites in low sec technically, but there's less systems in high sec, so they're more concentrated? Is that one of these things? No, suspect flag just means everybody can attack you freely. Got it. Okay, so it's the 8. Yeah, well, that's okay. Not all high sec, but the HQ constellation. Yeah. The HQ constellation has a much higher density of sites than anywhere else. And that is... yes. Okay, so there's more total in low sec, but they're more concentrated in the high sec areas that they are, but only because the high sec areas that they are in is extremely concentrated. Is that fair? Because this isn't everywhere. It's only one to 3 constellations per empire. It's not that big of an area. Basically, I think if I remember correctly, when we looked at it, it was effectively if the constellation bled into low sec, it was counted. Or into the faction warfare space. So, like... this area here, this entire box here, that is where the most Caldari sites are. HiSec is likely way more deadly. You could bring a curse into the combat site. Or just sit on gates. That is actually a thing you could do. You could just sit on a gate and wait for somebody to go to a site after having gone to another site. You won't be suspect, so they won't assume that you're there or that you're dangerous. And if you can grab them as you land, you can kill them. They'll already be suspect from the previous site that they were in. They're not going to wait out a suspect flag every single time, especially if they're a Darty Explorer. If you're just returning to EVE after a long time, I do have a video that's explicitly for... It's called Returning to EVE, Watch This First, where I go over effectively all of the changes and everything that's happened and kind of help you recalibrate yourself to the new EVE. Sitting in a safe spot and descanning the combat sites, you could do that too. Absolutely, that would work. You have... Excuse me, wrong hole. You'd have to worry about the rats yourself. Hela sites in the site so far. Hela deaths in the site so far 8. I hope that video that you made, the first thing you did was more than the loss of the jukebox. I think I mentioned the jukebox, but I was more focused on newer development. Like, it was more focused on helping people get up to speed the way things are now, like how the market works now, how industry has changed, how mining is now, you know, all those kinds of things. I do feel it's quite silly that we don't have a jukebox. Although it's worth noticing that they did put new jukeboxes into the game, but I don't think they are what we think they are. I mean, I'm flying an Imicus Navy issue. So, is anybody in the fleet with like Spoon? Is SpoonS here? Should I join the fleet? Should I? Is anything going on still? Otherwise, I may just need to hop off so that way we can get into the other thing. I'm sticking to a single account this time. It's actually I recommend 1 to 2 accounts basically. SpoonS is here, so that's not a good indicator that they're out and about. So now that I have all of the stuff, right? I have all of the pieces. There it is. So I can use my blueprint. It's going to show me what I have and what I need. So I still need Noxium, Pyrite, and a recursive computing module. So I'm going to log on my alt. Now, it's worth noting that while you do need skills to do this, you actually need to be Omega. In fact, I'm going to need to train this skill right now because you need Quantum Physics 1, which requires Omega. However, you do not require special skills to like lower the ME or anything like that. ME does not get lowered by skills. As in the material efficiency. Sorry, how much a material costs. I was going to do actually a how to build things, your own ships in Faction Warfare today, but then of course this event started, so we did that instead. All right, so I'm going to give myself some Noxium. How much do I need? And some Pyrite. And one of those, the recursive computers. Recursive computers, those are going to be those are the big expenders this time because that's the PI. So I finish my trade and then I look. Okay, so now it's done and I can put it in and it's going to take me 33 minutes. Why does it take 33 minutes? Because I don't have everything trained. If I had the things trained, then I'd be good to go. Which one do I need? Quantum physics. Ah. So now I can put this in, hit start, and in 33 minutes, I'll have myself a shiny new data core. Where did I get the BPCs? I got them from the same place. You get all of this stuff, the 3 pieces, or all the parts and the BPC. You get the index file, the data fragment, and the encryption key all in the same, and the blueprint all in the same, like all 3 sites contain all of the pieces. Yes, the Doctor Who event was the one that you had to build the filaments for. They made the one non-PvP thing require Omega. Yeah, except for player. That's actually not true. The single biggest reward of points does not require you to do any combat and does not require you to do any industry. Because if you look, the single biggest chunk of points manufacturer transporter relay reward will give you 15. And so depositing them will give you 150. So what that means is if you simply provide it to somebody and they build it, they will get 150 points for building it, and then you will get 150 points for turning it in. And then you can split up the rewards however you want. That make sense? So you could actually just complete this entire thing just by turning in the data cores. Yeah, I thought that was pretty okay. Also, the exploration one isn't really PvP, if you think about it. Because, like, yeah, exploration's all about darting around and trying not to get caught. I don't think that that one's too unreasonable. At least in HiSec, you don't have too many people, like, instigate camping and using bubbles and stuff. So I can't imagine that doing the explo sites in HiSec is going to be any more dangerous than in LowSec, other than the fact that everybody knows that that's the more important constellation, right? Anywho, yeah. Let me find out if anything's going on. Otherwise, we can wrap things up. I haven't seen the combat sites for myself, but the top thing is a Panther, so keep an eye on that. Yes, you could theoretically just do something else and buy the cores. Turn them in. In fact, although alphas can't do PI, I can't wait to get back into this game seriously. I might have to Omega my account back up so I don't have to spend my ISK. I mean, you could probably do quite a bit of it as an alpha, to be honest. At least get a feel for it. Especially with Faction Warfare. If you really, really wanted to, you could probably pretty easily grind up enough ISK to go Omega in Faction Warfare, at least within a month. I made... Now, admittedly, I was pretty aggressive last month, but I made 4.5 million LP last month, which would be about 500 or 5 billion ISK. Have I made a video on PI? I did touch on PI a little bit last video at the very end, but I do have like a full video of how to do PI, how to build robotics that I put out years ago that probably could be updated, but yeah. How much will the cores sell for? However much anybody's willing to pay for them, man. First of all, I don't know what the reward for turning in 10 of these suckers are yet. So, you know, obviously the cores will, you know, how much raw ISK just comes out of the cans will obviously determine how much the data cores are, right? Because if you get 20 million ISK, or if you get 100 million ISK per on average out of the cans, the reward crates, then they could be like, what, 90 million ISK per data core. I bought 2 MCTs to get them making passive income. That's a decent enough idea. Well, in theory, I could Omega my account with the current ISK, but that would leave me flat broke. So, another thing to do is what I think Tender Moron was was kind of alluding to, which is that you can actually sell your own brain. So, you could theoretically go Omega and then sell off the skill points that you train in that month to help finance that month's sub. Or I guess next month's sub. But yeah, Faction Warfare makes a lot of money, especially even for alphas. Oh, yeah, CSSU command. You want to hop on? If you got something to talk about. If you've got something that's relevant, now's a good time to do it. Oh yeah, PI is a good one too. Like I said, I have an older one about PI. Yes, recursive computers went from 1.6 to 3.3 overnight. That's a good point too. Yeah. Pandora, you can now get a weekend fleet pack, which will give you 3 days of Omega. Or, I thought it was 3. It might be 7. Either way, it's a pretty decent deal. Anything else I haven't touched on yet? Let's see. So I will say that there is some hints that this event is going to escalate or potentially evolve with the angels and the Garistas at some point. Both in the hints of what CCP has said and the fact that they put in angel and Garistas rats into the game at the same time as they put in the mercenaries. Yeah, obvious. Yes, you want to get. The thing is that a lot of people ask me, when should I go Omega, or how long should I be? When should I go Omega? And my answer to them is when you know how you're going to support it long term, right? Don't just go Omega because you think it's going to fix your problems. Omega is not going to make you stronger. It's not going to make you know more. It's not going to give you more ships. It's not going to give you any of that. It's going to give you the ability to train those things. So if you're still training your basic skills, then you're still going to be training those basic skills even after your Omega. You're just going to be training them faster. So you do train twice as fast, but it's not like you go, click, okay, now I can fly mining barges. Like that is not how it works. So you can stay alpha for quite some time and be perfectly happy. You can be an alpha for 5 months before you hit the point where you have to go Omega before you go over. And you know what the secret is? Some people like to complain about alphas. Some people like to say the alphas aren't as strong or whatever, or can't do the best money-making stuff in the game. But you know what they don't mention? Alpha clones don't have a 2.5 billion ISK monkey on their back. So you could, if you want to, just say, I'm going to play this game on slightly hard mode, and it's as if I got 2.5 billion ISK worth of free, value per month because of that, right? Like, the fact that you have absolutely no monkey on your back, the fact that every single ISK that you earn, every drone that you scoop up, every dog tag that you get, oh, this dog tag's worth 5 million. That's my ammo for the next 2 days. I don't have to worry about earning enough ISK to pay for Plex. I just have to earn enough ISK to keep my shit coming. Keep the machine rolling. And here's the secret. As an alpha clone, you can still build things. You can't build advanced stuff, but and this is the thing I wanted to show off in Faction Warfare earlier. And you know what? Let me even show some of this, I think. I didn't even get any of my stuff set up for it. All right. Well, how should I do this? I'll set it up for Thursday or something. But the idea is that a lot of people assume that skills affect how much material it takes to build something. So somebody who has high skills will be able to build something cheaper than somebody with low skills. That isn't true. The build construction materials is based on the blueprint and the facility used. That's it. Your skills only affects time and maybe the cost to put in the job. I don't even remember. But that is, like if you're working at a player facility, like who cares, right? Like especially if you're in a faction warfare space, the cost index is cut off. So like the point here is that you can, as a brand new alpha, go into faction warfare space, make some LP, go turn that into a BPC for a Catalyst Navy issue or a Comet or something like that, and then either buy the minerals and have them moved in, buy it off the market, or buy it in Joe Dixie or wherever you want to do it, or even go and mine it yourself for most of the minerals, although alphas aren't great at mining, so I'm not advising that. And then bring it all together and then build it. So if you just bring in minerals, if you just buy minerals, you can build your own BPCs, you can build your own ships. And here's the cool thing about that. A lot of people say, like, I keep on telling people, just build your own catalysts, Navy catalysts and stuff, and fly those. That's a good way to use your LP. And people keep on getting hung up on the idea that you don't actually make ISK off of that, right? If I fly the ship and blow it up, I don't make ISK for that. But here's the thing. You don't just need ISK. Why do you... it has a small alpha tax, and that's in the skills. It's not that much. Comparatively. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So it is true that you need ISK for things like Omega, right? But what else do you need your ISK for? Why do you need ISK? For ships, right? You need ISK to have ships to fly. And by flying Navy ships, you're going to be more successful. So one of the ways I can use my LP is by making sure that I no longer fly catalysts. I now fly Navy catalysts, which to me, it costs the same amount or cheaper to build a Navy catalyst as a catalyst, but it's just stronger. So now I get to fly those stronger ships. I can fly Myrmidon Navy issues in battlefields and Catalyst Navy issues into smalls and all that sort of stuff, and just have that be a more effective player. And that cost is consumed by the LP. This is why I like to say that ships that you sell to yourself are sold at maximum efficiency, because you need it and you need to sell it. Well, guess what? It's yours now. And that's a perfectly fine use. You can build more ships than you use, and you can sell those, or you can sell your LP in other ways to make ISK. But if you are in faction warfare and you're not at least trying to understand how to build your own ships out of your points, or the other materials that you need to build, the ammo to turn into faction ammo, the plates to turn into plates, etc., etc., you should be figuring it out. It's not that hard, and I will be making a video about it, hopefully on Thursday, breaking it all down for you guys. Faction exploration ships went from 10 million to 30 million. Yeah, so all you guys who have been getting LP, faction Navy ships, let's go. The cost to build them have not gone up, but their value has. Also, it's worth noting that all of the top tier ships for all of the different sites here are all alpha friendly, right? Navy frigates, Navy destroyers. Well, Kiki is not alpha friendly. Navy battle cruisers, right? So an alpha could be in an Amicus Navy issue, a Catalyst Navy issue, and a Myrmidon Navy issue. Boom. That's a good setup for an alpha. As always, I strongly recommend, especially for alphas, but really for everyone, the secret to these events is to do them as a team. If you can have even 2 people, it makes all of the sites significantly easier, and it lets you be able to defend yourself from hostile enemies that much better. You know, go as a team. It also just discourages people from coming and messing with you. When they see there's 3 of you in the system, not only can you win the fight, but that means that they don't actually come and take the fight. So that's it, guys. I'm actually going to end this a little bit early so that way we can all go out and get some practice in there and start doing the Shadow War. Join the Gallente Federation and our efforts to finally catch up and build our own shipcaster. It's really hard to get people to group up for PvP. True, but in this case, the sites are really designed to be able to facilitate multiple people working together. Like, you should be able to team up for this one. Hey, if somebody wants to buy me this Stellaris DLC, I'll do a Stellaris day. Join COE. If you are, big one. I've heard a lot today of people saying like, I'm coming back. I just came back, blah, 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 blah. So here's the thing. Now, if you've never used the old buddy code, you know how they made the buddy code? Like originally it was like 21 days free trial. Then they made it be like so much SP. Then they made it 1 million free SP. Okay. Now they've made it so that that's retroactive. All right. So here's the deal. I've already got all my rewards. I appreciate it. I've got 2 marshals and I'm subbed up to literally 2028. I'm fine. But what I've done is I've taken a lot of my staff and other cool people and we have put them on a list. And if you click on that resources.empyreans.org/referral that just got linked in chat or down below, you will get sent to a random member of ours that makes things happen. Remember, these are the people. Our mission is to maximize player engagement with EVE Online. So if you appreciate the show and you appreciate what COE does, make sure to hit that one and go for it. Did you not get a third? I got a third, but that was a totally separate thing. I didn't get a third from a reward. I used yours already. That's cool. Excellent. Yeah. Well, 2 things happened. One, my turn-in exploded, right? As soon as the retroactive happened, it got silly real fast. But also, Lion here, I'm going to blame Lion. I'm going to both give a shout out and blame Lionheart for this. Lionheart sits in our chat, like he showed up new at about that same time, and I was like, hey, he learned about the buddy code thing, and then every single time somebody joined the Discord, without fail, there was Lionheart. Hey, have you used the buddy code? If you haven't, here's the buddy code. And like enough to the point where there were other staff and directorate that were trying to message me and be like, hey, are we going to do something about the fact that Lionheart is totally just soaking up all the stuff? And I hadn't fixed it yet. And to be totally frank, he had the initiative. He deserves the credit for the initiative, to be honest, as far as I'm concerned. But I did talk to him about it, and we did come up with this idea of having this website do a random one. So, of course, Carnage Rose, or Isabel in game, who has built a lot of our other tools, put together this website that allows us to do this random referral thing, and that's what we give out now. So thank you very much for Lionheart for being such a proactive member of our team, and continues to be a proactive member of our team. Anything else? Anything else? Before we leave, make sure to like the stream. Tomorrow is my day off. Thursday, like I said, I want to talk about like how to build stuff, and we'll probably do a follow-up on today's video. There is previous Shadowcaster War videos where I talk about what I think is going to happen, although today we clarified a lot of the stuff. If there's any questions after this, after you've watched this, either live or on the recording, please put in the comments below extra stuff that we should note about the Shadow War, and I'll make sure to shout those out later. The Frigate Free-for-All. The Frigate Free-for-All was amazing. Amazing. I'll be honest with you. So, full disclosure, this was my first Frigate Free-for-All. So I legitimately kind of felt bad after the whole political snafu earlier today. No schedule below stream. I already wrote this down, didn't I? Why isn't it here? Nope. Stream schedule. YouTube. I know I probably wrote it down last time, but at least now I wrote it again. If I do the new campaign, but I'm not in a militia, would I miss out on anything, or do I get to avoid some unnecessary combat? By not being in a militia, you don't get locked out of one of the areas of space. The other people within your same militia may see you as friendly, but what militia you're in doesn't necessarily have to correspond with what faction you join in the faction campaign. All you have to do is join the faction campaign first and then join the militia of your choosing. But you could just choose to not be part of a militia and just side with them through the faction campaign. Everything I've done today with Ash, I've done without joining faction warfare. All right. There's merch. There's other stuff. Actually, I really want to, like, I've gotten an influx of supporters. I'm pretty sure I've updated them all. But if not, if you're not on the list and you should be, please let me know. If you're, I need to put up a thing that makes it so that I can show all the people. I keep delaying that. And, whatever. But in the meantime, I do want to thank my top tier supporters of Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arydanika the Queen, Belligerent Neckbeard, BlackRoseNoble, Bombers Bar, Dajat Lemmont, Drake, GuldanAgeStories, J. Kuhn, LM1, Lumi, Malak Starfire, Midnight Space Monkey, Not Just Fun, Seeds of Plenty, Serenolin with No Eyes, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, Grendel, Yanti, Lipoof, Zaul Nex, as well as my top tier Immortals patrons of Ebalit, May, Merc Utan, and Rid. Thank you guys so much. This time I pronounced J. Kuhn's name correctly, but not Tgen Tgen's. Whatever, it all balances out in the end. I guess I will be out there getting things done, and we'll report more back to you on Thursday. But until then, last chance. Last chance. Is there anything I said I was going to do and then didn't? This is one of those days that, like, it's very possible. Yes, make sure to like for the guineas. Especially since the guineas now need a little extra love, since the cat is now getting most of the affection. All right. On that note, I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. And until next time, I'll see you in space.
Bring on the
Thanks, John, for the super chat.